Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining our first group lesson. This lesson will be mainly more introduction. I'm going to share with you what we are going to study in this course, and of course today we will do some practical exercises. We will discuss such a tactical motive, pin, and ping. And then we'll talk in general about the game stages, what to do, and of course I'm going to share with a few examples. Okay, can you please tell me if the sound is good and you can see me and my board? Okay, fine. Let's let's start. So first of all, let's do one basic thing that we should definitely do every time when you are going to play. You should adjust your settings on chess.com because chess.com is one of the best places to play games against real players. So the other good place is Lichess, for example, lichess.org. However, because your task is not only to play blitz but to play longer games, I suggest you to play 30 minutes games, so 30 minutes plus 0. That's why I want to adjust your settings first. So here, this is my profile. You can click to your profile, then click settings. Then you click live chess section here. And then please adjust your outgoing settings. It should be from -50 to +400, what means that you are going to play with players about your level or stronger players. So then you click save. And then when next time you go here to live chess, I want you to start a challenge. So, I mean, I want you to find a partner and play a 30 minutes game. How do you do this? So you click here first. We clicked live chess. Then we chose 30 minutes. So standard, play, and then you will be paired with someone with this time control. I'm not sure that I can join a game with someone right now because my rating is quite high, and here on chess, here on chess.com it's quite high. So I think I can't find a partner right now with a longer time control. But if you're under 1800, you can definitely find such a player. Okay, so here I cancel, but when you are going to play such games, you will definitely find a partner. So your home task will be to play at least 2 games with such a time control on chess.com. So here 30 minutes are given to you. What should you do? You should spend at least 2/3 of this time. So for example, if it's 30 minutes, then when the game finishes, you should have less than 10 minutes on your clock. So 20 minutes should be spent on the game. So don't play too fast, and at the same time, don't play too slow. Okay, fine. I cancel it. So what then? If you want to play a game on Lichess, it's still fine. If so, I recommend you to use quick pairings. You go to the main page, you click quick pairings, and of course, you can find someone in lobby with a longer time control. For example, here, there is a challenge 30 plus 30 that is good for us. 30 plus 0. Well, yeah, 30 plus 0, that is okay. So you can click and join the game. But if there are no such challenges here, you can just click 15 plus 15, and then you automatically can be paired with someone. Okay, but of course not me, because right now there are no such players of this rating who wants to play 15 plus 15. Oh, okay. So finally, okay, I cancel it. So, but yeah, this is how you can play 15 plus 15. Here, 15 minutes is given to you with a 15 seconds increment, and by the end of the game, you should have less than 5 minutes. And I highly recommend you to spend at least 1/3 or even a half of your time for the first 15 moves. Okay. This is how to play games on chess.com and Lichess. Now I'll show how to analyze the games. I already demonstrated it on my masterclass, but maybe not all of you attended it. So what to do? I prefer to analyze games on Lichess. So here I click study. You may create a new study. For example, let's do it. Click here plus, then here just invite only and start. And here you should enter your PGN games. For example, we can go to my account, again, my Chess.com account, or we can also use my Lichess account. I can show you. So here, click games, then find the game. So there was a okay, for example, this is one of the games that I played recently. I click on it. This is a notation. So then I click download and then just copy PGN and go back here, paste, create. So this is how I create a chapter. This is my game. I was playing with white pieces. How to analyze with the computer. Here you click request. No, this is a sign. This is icon of computer analysis. Then you click request a computer analysis. So I highly recommend you to create a special study. We can name it, for example, my games. Okay, so let's just let the computer finish the computer analysis. So, and then your task will be to add more games that you played so that you can analyze your mistakes or yourself or with the help of your coach. So you see here, the computer demonstrates analysis. So yeah, this is a statistics. So I made 2 inaccuracies, 3 mistakes, and 1 blunders. And then I'm going through it. So everything was fine here. Castle. So this is likely to be a mistake. Why this is a mistake? It's because I'm down a pawn in such a case. So computer recommends to play h3. Then he has 2 options: to take here, to play bishop f3. So for example, he takes on e2, then I take on e2. Yeah, here you can also use the help of this engine. So then from queen e7, bishop e3, knight e2, queen e2, and these pawns are the objects of the attack. For example, d4, and I can castle queenside because after d takes a3, queen b5 leads to a checkmate. The king has no squares to move, queen d7, and queen takes queen, checkmate. So probably instead of castling, I could force him a trade on f3, or maybe bishop f3 can be played. If so, king f1 protecting it. So for me, it's not clear why instead of castling I should play h3 and king f1. Okay. If you don't understand, that's fine. Maybe the coach can explain to you. Okay, knight e2, knight takes e2. What's then? This is my other mistake, c4. I played this move to attack on b7, but of course I understand that I can't capture the pawn on b7 right now. Even because, for example, they take, I take, then rook b8 just, and I lose a pawn on b2. So maybe that was the mistake. Instead, I could just take on, instead of playing this move, I could just take on e6, then play queen e2, and threaten the pawn. Maybe that was a better plan. Okay, fine. What else? So in this position, I decided to take on d5. This is an accuracy. Why? Yeah, I see, because this is how I help to activate the bishop. For example, if I take here, f takes, and then I take on d5, I just win a pawn here, then I can take on, oh, maybe rook b1 or rook c1. Okay, rook c1, and then I take on b7. So I will be one pawn up. Okay, so then you cover all your mistakes and inaccuracies, and then try to check what happened wrong. You can also analyze your games played on Chess. So this is my profile on Chess. Yeah, let's, for example, analyze this game. So you open the game, then you click Analysis Board. Then here it's written FEN and PGN. You just copy. And you can also add it to your study. And of course, request a computer analysis and do the same thing. So you can create a study on Chess and upload your games from everywhere, from chess.com, from Chess, from any other website. Moreover, here you can just make an empty chapter and then make the moves on the board. Okay, fine. If you want to analyze the games on chess.com, how to do this? Okay, let's go back. This is my profile. Click games. Then find the game that you want to analyze. For example, this one. Click on it. And then the analysis starts. So checking for mistakes. Let's wait. Wait, so no mistakes? How is it possible? Okay, so then you click game report. Okay, actually, let's go back. Let's click here, analysis. And yes, oh yeah, this is what I want to get. And then you'll see that I was playing with white pieces. I made only one inaccuracy. If you click on it, then it shows. So for example, the inaccuracy here was my move bishop takes on d4. Instead of bishop takes on d4, knight d4 is the best option. As for me, of course, both analyses are great, but I recommend to use the one on Chess. Because sometimes it's not obvious why these move better than the other one. Okay, so this is how you can analyze your games on Chess, chess.com. And of course, I want you to analyze the games after you play. Okay, fine. So let's go back to my profile, close it. And I'm going. If you want to delete a chapter, you can do it. Of course, delete a study, you can do it here, for example, if you want. Okay, fine. What then? Today, let's start with analyzing such a tactical motive that is called pin or pinning. What does it mean? Let me show you. I'm going to show a few examples, starting with these. So it's white to move in this position. Try to think what to do. Here you may find two pins. What means the knight is pinned. The knight on d7 is pinned. It can't really move anywhere. As for the other knight, the knight on f6, it's also pinned. But if the knight moves, then we gain a queen. So, for example, if he can move this knight with a check, well, let's say our king is on d2, then he takes on a4. It's a check. We have to play with the king, and then he gains our bishop. So then he can get rid of the pin. But in this position, no checks, no queen's attack with this knight. That's why after the knight moves, you can just gain a queen and then win the game. As for this knight, any move with this knight is now illegal. So he can't just play this move. Fine. So it's white to move in this position. What do you think white can do to be able to gain the material or checkmate? So try to suggest. Because now everything is protected. If, for example, we take on d7, he takes with his rook, then we take with our rook, then he takes with the queen, and that's it. If we take here first, then he is likely to take with his pawn, then bishop d7, rook d7, rook d7, queen takes d7, and everything is fine. So, but then queen b8, okay. So bishop f6, g takes f6, bishop d7, rook d7. Then what? Rook takes here, queen takes, and queen b8. But okay, queen d8, for example. Well, of course, we can gain a pawn, but it's not enough in this position. So when queen b8, we may take here and then play queen b8, but rook d8. Then we have to trade probably. Queen takes, he's up a piece. Looks like we need to put the pressure on this pin. How to put this pressure? Actually, we should just add one more attacker to the d7 square. How many attackers do we have? Only bishop and rook. So we need one more. How to do this? Queen a4. If queen a4 in this position, then what can he do? Probably h6. And what then? Bishop f6, g takes f6. Rook d7, bishop d7, queen d7, and it's not enough. So in this position, instead of playing queen e4, we may sacrifice our rook for this knight. What can he do? This move is bad because he loses a queen. So he has to take with his rook. If so, then we add another attacker, and Now we are threatening to take on f6, then to gain this rook for free. So we sacrificed our rook for a knight, and then we want to get his rook for free. This is how we gain a knight back. So this is how we win a piece. How to play for black in this position? He can't really do anything to get rid of the pin. Maybe king d8 helps him to get rid of this pin, but no. Rook d7. Then knight d7, he loses a queen. That's why he should play a queen move, because if so, he add one more defender. But in this position, it's okay just to trade on f6 and then capture on d7 for free. But there is a better move, and I want you to find it. For example, if we take on f6, then maybe... Oh, actually, it's a winning position. Okay, let's say g takes f6. Bishop d7, queen takes d7. Yes, then we take on f7. Yeah, this is how we win, but I want you to find a better way to play in this position. Maybe you can find a checkmate. What do you think? Okay, so in this position, of course, yes, bishop f6 wins the game, but bishop d7 with a check is a better option. How to play for him? Probably take with the knight, because what can he do? If he moves the queen, if he moves the king, he loses his queen. If he takes with his queen, then he can still lose the queen in this position. So it's absolutely winning. If he takes with his knight, then we can do what? How to checkmate in this position in 2 moves. Mm-hmm. Okay, actually, when you are solving puzzles and they ask you to find a checkmate, you should always analyze moves with immediate checks first. For example, here there are 2 checks. Queen takes queen and queen b8. Queen b8 looks like a blunder, but anyway, we should analyze this combination to the very end. So, for example, here, queen b8, check. The king has no squares to move. The only move is to take this queen, but it opens the d file, and we can simply checkmate on d8. That's the idea. Okay, fine. Let's just quickly repeat. What did we do in this position? We sacrificed our rook for this knight, because then we wanted to increase the pressure on this pin and gain this rook for free, and maybe even gain his queen after that. Okay. I have one more example. So this is a weird position. The king is already on h5. how to play in this position to gain the material. At least one pawn. What do you think? It's white to move. What white should do to be able to gain a pawn? Bishop takes f7. Okay, let's analyze it. So bishop takes f7, rook takes f7. What then? If we take with our rook, king takes, and it looks like we lost our knight for a pawn. Oh, sorry, our bishop. So he has a bishop and rook and 3 pawns, while we have only rook and 4 pawns. So actually we are losing here. Looks like bishop f7 is a wrong move. This is a pin. The pawn is pinned, and our task is to exploit the pin by putting more pressure on the piece that is pinned. Here it's the pawn on f7, so we should add the pressure on f7. We can't really do it right now, but as it was in the previous puzzle, we can apply the same method. Here we can take on f7 with our rook instead of the bishop. Why with the rook? Because his rook is now pinned and he can't really get rid of it. But we are going to increase the pressure. For example, then how to play. He has to add one more defender. The other rook comes to f8. Then what should we do in this position? What do you think? King g6, exactly. King g6, add one more attacker, because now we are threatening to take and win a rook for free. So what can he do? It doesn't really matter. Let's play any move. Then bishop f7 with a check. King h8, we are one pawn up. And how would you continue in this position? Can you threaten a checkmate? Oh, I think it's a checkmate in 2 moves, or you can gain his rook. Okay, so here we may find out that his king is standing in the corner, has no squares to move. That's why our task is just to deliver a check to this king. How to deliver a check? Just move our rook to the h file. So rook f5. Doesn't really matter what his next move is, but we play rook h5 with a checkmate. The best way he can do here is to sacrifice. But then the position is absolutely losing. For example, king takes, still threatening with this move. g6, we take, and then we promote our pawns. Maybe instead of playing a tempo loss like a5, he can do something like king h8. If so, then we take on f7. with our bishop, because when we take with our bishop, we still keep in mind the idea to play rook f5 and rook h5. What can he do? Maybe this move with the idea to give a check here. But if so, then d5, he gives a check bishop e6. Now we are threatening with a check on f8. This is a checkmate. How can he play? Get his rook back. And then after rook f5, the game is over. There is no defense against rook h5 move. So maybe instead of this move, he could do this. But if so, this move still works. And then this move. That's the idea. That could help him to save the position, but I'm not sure. We can still play rook f5. He has to play this move. And then we can just play something like, or even something like check, trade. Then just come closer to the pawn here and then promote our pawn. This will be a winning position. Okay, fine. So here, what we did, we sacrificed the rook for a pawn, and then we put the pressure on f7, and we had more attackers than he had defenders, so that we could gain his rook for free, and also threaten a checkmate. Okay, fine. So what I want you to do as the homework, this is your homework. The topic is, oh, actually, wait. Okay, just wait a second. I'll show you a little bit later. So, okay, so it's not here. I click learn study. So I created a special study for you to practice with ping. So this is called homework 1. Homework 1, pin. Now I'm going to add, okay. So now, for example, in this position, it's black to move because these are your pieces. So 8 and 7th rank are closer to you. They are located on the downside. So that means that you're playing with black pieces. And also you can find 3 points here, what means black to move. And I want you to find the best move for black. Sometimes you should win the game or gain the material or checkmate, but in some cases it's enough just to play the best move and draw the game. So what do you think about this position? This is the second chapter I want you to solve. So how to play for white here? What do you think? Can white gain the material? Rook c1. Yeah, rook c1, of course. What do you expect from black? What black can play now to save? one of his pieces, because yeah, the idea is quite obvious and of course good, because this is how you are taking on c5, and if bishop moves you can capture the knight, if knight moves you can capture the bishop. What move can black play now to not to lose both his pieces, not to lose at least one of his pieces? No, okay, so here, of course, you should analyze what happens if bishop moves and show it on the board. So rook c8. If knight moves, then rook takes c5. But he may play b6 and support his knight, because in such a case, we can't really take any of his pieces. The bishop is protected, and we can't reach the knight while the bishop blocks the file. How to play in this position? d3, d4, exactly. This is how we put the pressure on the knight. Yes, we sacrifice the pawn, but if he takes, we gain this knight. If he doesn't take, but play maybe with his knight, we just take here. So, and when you solve the puzzles, what do I want you to do first? So first, you don't move the pieces. You are trying to calculate everything in your mind. For example, it looks like this. So first, if I play rook c1, what he gonna do? He may move the bishop, then I take the knight, and I'm up the material. He may move the knight, then I take the bishop, and again I'm up the material. He can play b6. If so, I will play d4, and if he takes my pawn on d4, I'll capture this knight. Okay, looks like everywhere in all the lines I'm winning.